Hi, it's Monday morning, cold Monday morning, a bit frosty. Just thought I'd take you for a little tour around the plot, see how we're going. Some of the things to celebrate and some of the disasters. So because we had such a cold spell in early December, and so things were very different this year than they were last year. But never mind, we haven't lost faith totally. We've got things growing inside, and that always cheers me up because that's no, they're doing really well inside, of course. Now the spring's picking up though, everything's in bud, so I'm going to just do this video in some sections. We'll start just by having a bit of a tour of my first plot, and then go down to the new plot and see how many weeds are growing through this week, just to keep a check on them. But let me turn you around and we'll go inside the greenhouse. Okay, so I'm bringing some onions down. As you can see, the germination has been really sporadic. Those ones aren't too bad, those lilia. I've planted these brune now twice because some of them just didn't come up. So I planted the whole pack. I thought, well, let's see. So it's probably just a bit of a bad patch of seed, which is a bit of a shame because these ones now are doing really well. These are a red onion called Tripea, so from French's seeds. So I'm quite intrigued to see. They look all right though, because there's new ones even in the greenhouse, which isn't heated. They're coming up okay. I'm bringing down my potatoes. Now, some people said they've already got theirs in the ground, but I'm way behind because, I just bought one pack. I wasn't going to grow any potatoes. Last year I went mad on doing them in some big tubs, because I didn't have very much space in the ground. So I did them in big tubs and I had them in the greenhouse, and then I had to get help when they were all filled up because they were so heavy to kind of two-handled, move them out of the greenhouse and move them into position, and then they needed watering. And the actual crop was really lovely. It was tasty, and always a surprise to see little cute potatoes that you've grown and you're, oh look, there's lots of them in there. And it was pretty good, but I think it was quite a lot of work. And this year, because we've taken on a new plot and that's all ready to go, there's an area that was really weedy, and the weeds are coming through the no dig part under the cardboard. So I thought, well, that's going to be ideal this year to put a few spuds in there. So I've just bought one bag, and I bought the Caledonian Pearl. They're first earlies apparently, so I'm just chitting those a little bit. They're not that, well, they're a bit slow, aren't they? I thought as soon as you got them home they would start to grow, but something's happening. I've got a few little tiny bits growing, and maybe I can just pop them in the ground as they are now. I'm not sure, but I probably will end up doing that. I'll get so impatient if they don't grow that I would just put them straight into the ground, and then I've heard people could do that before as well, so we'll just see how they go. But that's, I have every faith in a bit of success with them. Really, a little bit of green fingers and all that goes a long way, so we'll just see how we go with those. They're going to just stay in the greenhouse for now though, because they weren't coming on very well at home, and I think it's actually warmer in this greenhouse down at the allotment. It's warmer than in my one at home. This is polycarbonate, because I'm not allowed glass in my greenhouse, on my allotment plot. You're not allowed to have glass, you've got to have polycarbonate. This one's just poly, and it's in full sun though, so it's out in an open area. Whereas the one I've got at home is glass, and it's larger, but it's kind of surrounded by some hedge, which protects it a little bit and does give it some shade. So you're glad of that. When it comes to actually really hot summer, you're glad of that. But it does shade the plants a little bit when you really want them to just go out there and have a bit of full sun during the day and maybe bring them back in again. It's not always the best place. Half of it is better than the other. So we'll just have to play around with that a little bit, mixing them. I bring them here, then I take them home. And I bring them here and I take them back home, so that's just where it is. It's only 4 minutes walk from this plot to my house, and so that's pretty ideal. I mean, there are a few that are growing okay, but my corn salad, I don't think it's ever going to recover. It just got so badly frosted. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, it wasn't happy. Last year it could grow anywhere, but there's a hole. I just think it was just so cold that it killed off most of the plants. But weirdly, that one at the end there So this is one border that's pretty much empty apart from some sorrel, which I will keep because that will really come through strong soon, and a few carrots that were a bit late and now they're just decided they're going to grow all of a sudden, so we'll keep those for a while. This area, so I've got some low tunnels. Let's just have a quick look. These were my overwintered mustards and lettuces. It went a bit green in there, so now I've opened it up. I don't know if I should scrape that off or what I should do, but things are actually starting to grow now. We do have a bit of a problem with either rat or mice or rabbits. I'm not quite sure what they are, but they've got one hole in and they've got one hole out, and that's been the case with quite a few of the low tunnels. They've got the same thing going on. Let's just lift this one, see what we've got in here. Not much, but we do have some chervil, and the chervil I've been picking. The leaves are small, but they will come back on, and a few rogue things like the hardy radicchio. Some of them overwintered from last year. There's a few mustards in there, and we've got a couple of little lettuces, and they will come back. They will come back. One of the problems with overwintering stuff here, I thought, was I was away on holiday from the middle of August until the end of August, right at the time when I should have had my seeds planted for my winter lettuces and some winter crops that I should have planted, but so I didn't start those until I got back. And I think I did pay because they were too small really to overwinter, you know, especially when it was such a cold winter, so things just stopped growing. So I didn't really get a winter crop of leaves this year. There were a few in the beginning of my mustards did okay, the pak choi did okay for a while, but they never grew into really robust plants. So that's the price you pay. You've got to seed things at the right time, and if you're too late it just gets too cold and everything just stops growing. So I paid the price for that, unfortunately. Garlic seems to be doing okay. This is because I've got more space, I just decided to put this area to mainly garlic, and I did have a row of field beans here, but what happened is most of them died off like this. I mean, you can see it's struggling to grow now again from the bottom, but the tops in the frost just really frosted off. And at first I thought it was a manure problem, you know, because of the pyrethrin or pyrethroate that you get. It's a weed killer that they use for some fields that are used for horses and cattle. So, but yes, a few of them are coming back. Okay, not too bad, but you know, they're not the lovely green tips that I thought I was going to be using in my soups and salads. There's some overwintered spring onions that I will do again, definitely plant them a bit earlier. Yeah, you've got to plan your holidays around your garden. Again, like I say, just one corn salad, the rest pretty much a disaster. They're just yellow, they're not happy. I don't know. More garlic and onions. Almost looks like they need a bit of water. They're a little bit on the yellow side, but the top growth is really coming through strong. So, you know, that could have been like a really cold spell as well, like these lower bottom leaves. So we'll just have to wait and see what's happening with those. These are onions. I decided to grow some onions from sets and some onions from seed, so we'll see the difference. Have a quick look at, oh, we've got a second leaf on the rhubarb. Well done, rhubarb. But again, look at this hole. Yeah, something, you know, I don't know, where is it digging to? It's not even gone in there. I've got no idea what it was looking for, but it didn't find what it was looking for. Went away. Another hole. Now I've moved this brick over the hole and they've just come in the other way. See, that's quite a substantial hole, and if it was a rabbit, you'd think that it would just eat everything. It would just eat the pak choi, it would eat that mustard there, it would eat my parsley. You'd think it would just eat anything, but it hasn't. They've just been going in and out of this bed. Maybe they just come in here for a bit of a nightcap, like to stay warm underneath the polytunnel or something, and then just go back out again in the morning while it's cold. Low tunnel number 4. You can see I've kept the covers on. They have natural aeration around there, and I'll just show you inside. So we've got all my compost, manure has been put down, few overwintered radicchio, or some hardy lettuces. Again, a hole at the back. Never had this last year at all. One little Mizuna, I think that was the spare one. And the corn salad underneath, you see, that's the same compost. So the corn salad inside underneath the low tunnels is not doing too badly. In fact, that's just come on a bit. They were a couple of spare plants that I just plonked in here. Tiny row of beetroot, again very late planted, and now they're just starting to make a little bit of new growth and coming back into some spring action. Low tunnel number 5. This one I have to lift the top off of manually. It's just like a wind cover really, but it has blown off. It's not been entirely successful, but does help things to come on a little bit. We've got a few turnips at the back. They didn't do great, but again, now that it's warming up, they're coming in. The daylight's getting a bit longer, a few more longer hours, a few lettuces, and then corn salad. Not much, but the bed is overall prepared. So once my crops start coming out of indoors and out of the greenhouse, then yeah, we've got plenty planted to go into these bare areas, and I'll just tidy it up and take all the old stuff out and put some new stuff in. Yeah, and you've got to have faith sometimes, in what you're growing, because I know that these spinach plants look a bit weedy, but I really think that they will come on. They need a little bit of water. They're a bit leggy now. I grew them in. I ran out of space at home, and so I just brought them straight down here after they germinated. But they're coming on. They're making some stronger leaves, so they will be okay. Half of it's Medania. Half of it's Viking. It's not a perfect kind of market gardener's like great growing seed tray, but I think they'll be okay. At least we've got every cell there's a little plant in there. And we've got our Mizuna, and that's growing very well. Very strong, healthy growth of each little plant, just in the grow bag. I just used a bag of compost. And I've got quite a few plants in there really, but don't have to water it very much. It's really tasty, can pick it whenever you like. So that's one success of the overwintering leaves, and nothing likes it. No bugs seem to like it. Anyway, not any that I've got. The slugs don't eat it. It's not covered in black fly or anything. It's just like, it just grows, and people, all the little predators leave it behind. So, well, that's the ones you've got to like really, and I will be growing more of this kind of stuff. Now, as far as fruit trees go, I've got 3 that I inherited here, and actually 4. 2 pears and 2 apples, and I'm not sure of the apple varieties. One is very green and one's like a red and a green, but they didn't do very well. They had quite a lot of black spot last year. The growth looked really strong, and but as they grew, the branches started to get some spot on them. I cut out like lots of the old growth and just really brought the framework back, especially if I just turn you around. I tried to espaliate both of the trees, because there's just a narrow walkway here, and these tayberries were like really getting out of control. I've taken a lot of that out, but we had tons of there last year. They will come back. But when this is in full growth here, you can't really walk. If the trees were out growing as well, like you'd just be pulling your hair out. So I have trimmed this one right back to a nice shape. Could have, yeah, and I think that's probably at its maximum kind of growing capacity. It might grow a bit taller, The bud's looking good, not too bad. Just starting to come into bud. And there was a lot of fruit, but like I say, I need to spray it with something this spring, or dust it with something, but I'm not quite sure what I'm meant to be using. Yeah, some buds, and these are the 2 apple trees. You see, overall I think they look very healthy, and I've taken out any of the really bad old wood, but we did have some kind of black spot on the fruit. So yeah, they're just there, and I can't really do anything much about those. But overall, the place is a nice open spot. Can be a bit windy. That's my new area that we're looking at just down there, and we're going to go down there now and have a look to see what weeds have grown in. Have this. It's great to have this time of year to get little jobs done and just to get on top of things. You know, training's going well, and the garden's going well, work is going well. Before really everything, if you just keep chipping away at the little jobs, like, you know, planting and bringing on your seedlings, and yeah, I just love it. I feel like things are going really well. There'll be a time when I feel like completely crushed by everything that I've got to do, but at the moment, yeah, it's going okay. Could do a few more things coming out the garden to actually eat, you know, the overwintering time, but that's a learning curve. I think I have to just, you know, make use of that earlier growing time at the end of the summer, when you think it's just too hot and nothing's going to grow and it's too early to do anything. But that was the key time that I missed, so we'll try better next year. I'm just going to turn you around, we'll have a look, see what's going on with the weed growth in the no-dig beds. So not too bad by the looks of things, you know. Overall, you wouldn't notice, would you? But it's when you start to really closely look that you see 1 or 2 of these little buggy leaves coming through. So I just picked them out. Yeah, I throw them over onto the grass. Not sure if I'm meant to be doing that. There you go. And there's another couple, and it's always this creeping buttercup that is like a bit of a pain. But look, I'm thinking, I'm starting to believe that it's getting weaker, that the growth is getting weaker, and there's not so much of it coming through. So, you know, I have every faith in that, and I'm just going to grow more robust things that will just hopefully just deal with the competition, and it won't be too bad. But it is something, you know, if you start your no-dig garden, like, it is something you have to be prepared for. I think that there's going to be some weeds, especially if you've just gone over the top of perennial weeds. There's going to be some that actually really just come through for a little while. And look, like I say, the more you look, the more you see. And I think, you know, you just got to get on top of these bits as you're going along. So I've just picked a nice handful of kaleets, and these little delicious tiny open sprouts are just, yeah, they're really tasty, really good, really worth growing. And I think it's just such a pretty bush too, you know. They are quite prolific. They take a while to grow, but compared to my sprouts, they did very well. And every time I'm brushing past these lovely blackcurrant bushes, as you can see, like, just about to burst into leaf, and they smell so sweet and so lovely. And we've got 4 here, which are, you know, quite old, but they did really well. Made a lot of jam, had a lot on breakfast. And there we go, a handful of kale, a handful of kaleets. That's okay, that's fine for me anyway, and I'm the one who eats all the greens around here. So we'll just go back home, have a look at the what's going on under the grow lights. That's Benny, is getting completely carried away in there. And, you know, I don't know where he's digging to, but he's not going to find anything that way. You're digging up my compost heap, yeah? Leave it, come on, let's go. Benny, Spencer, come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go home. Come on. So we're back home, and just to give you a little overview of what the situation of my home greenhouse is. Like I said, it is a bit sheltered compared to the one at the allotment. Here we are. So it's an 8x6, and you can see I've got my hedge growing around the outside of it, so it's not as open a spot as the one at the allotment. Just check out the Mizuna. So as you can see, this is in the ground and it's just doing fabulous, and I've had so many cuts off this. I did take some this morning, and I'm just going to take some now to have in my lunch. So really pleased with how that's come on. I really, I recommend it. If you don't know anything about these Asian greens, then try a couple, because they're valuable, especially if you're having trouble with a lot of slugs and things. I think they're doing really well. Little Calet plants, yep, growing very well. A few more there. They're just coming on. They're just like brand new. Last week I put them out here. So I germinated these all indoors, and they've just come out here for about a week. They've been out here now, and I just put a layer of fleece on overnight to protect them. We have had like a minor frost. Like last night we had a minor frost. So this is my first year growing this cabbage called the cabbage. Thank you very much, Charles Dowding, for putting me onto that one. And we have purple sprouting, ordinary one, just called purple sprouting broccoli, and the other one's called the claret, the F1 claret. So we're going to have a go at those. And behind here we have cauliflower, and that's just an all the year round one. Have some lettuce, and lettuce have been a bit slow in the cold, but at least they're out of the house and they're just doing their thing. This is the canasta, and we've got some Roxy and a mixture of Italian mixed ones. So there will be some, reds and greens. As you can see, there will be some radicchias and some hardier, red and green lettuces. So we'll just see how they come on. So we're back in my little growing room. It's actually like a multi-purpose room. It's my spare room. It's my training room. I've got my training bike in here. It's my growing room, in this time of year especially. And if I could have another grow light, I would, because you quickly run out of space. Like once everything moves from a seed tray into a little pot, and then from a little pot into a big pot, and you're feeling you should start things off early to get them making nice chilies and peppers and things, and then suddenly you're inundated. You just can't wait for everything to go outside in the greenhouse. So we're a long way off that. We're only like the 6th of March today, so we're a long way off putting everything out in the greenhouse. We'll just have to wait until the outdoor temperatures at least 9-10 degrees overnight. Probably another month or so. So gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff, but anyway, take a look. Here we go. So I potted up my aubergines yesterday because they were really looking a bit too thirsty all the time in the small pots, and although they hadn't completely got root bound, they suddenly overnight just looked like much happier. And so we're just keeping that, and you can see that I have got this grow light quite close to my plants. One is because practical issues, I just can't raise it up any higher. I could lower the unit, I guess, by taking out one of the, but then it might be a bit too low. But overall it's not doing too badly. The chilies and the peppers really love the light being so close. You can still see that, say this one for example, even though the light is only there, it's at an angle to it, and so it's still growing inwards a little bit to the light. So they are just lapping it up. this could be questionable, you know, a bit of yellowing on the leaves. Was that me just allowing things to dry out, or was that a bit too much bright light? So I've turned the dial down a little bit so it's not so bright. My flower seeds, something completely different, but I do have a garden as well, and I do like to grow a few flowers at the allotment to kind of cheer things up. And my mum really likes flowers, and so I like to grow a few things for her. So we've just got Nicotian and Sylvestris. They're doing okay. And anyone who's ever grown Nicotian will know that they are absolutely minute when they come up, and so these were the successes, and we'll just have to see how they get on. The salvias, there's little pink salvia there, and I think that they're doing really well. I potted these up yesterday, so they've got a nice little growing room now, so they're just getting used to new home conditions. Coriander, now I know that they're hardy, they probably could go out, but I didn't, I just couldn't leave them in the small pots anymore. They were drying out, so the tiny little round seed pods that I was using, so I've just popped these up for here, and it won't matter that they're a slightly bigger cell to go out, and they'll have a couple of deep leaves. And we've got a cold spell at the moment, so I'm waiting for that to pass before I put anything in the ground. And behind you can see peppers going on, a mixture with chilies there, and the tall ones are peppers, mostly the long red ones. You know, that's the only ones I'm really bothering with this year. And we've got a mixture of different types. Some didn't come on so quickly, they took longer to germinate, and so they're a step behind. But these ones were doing really well. And I do have one more grow light and a whole 2 trays of different things at my mum's house. This light's slightly further away and it covers a much wider area, but everything seems to be doing really well with that, and I keep that full. As you can see, what we got here, oh my gosh, look, suddenly this new growth above my thumb is just from the last week. So I potted them on. You can see they're in the next size up. I guess that's a 1 litre pot or something. Anyway, I potted them up, got 3 cucumbers. They're the smaller cucumbers, so I will be growing these indoors for quite a while. They will move from the grow lights to my sunny windowsill in the larger pot until they can really properly go outside all night. So that will be probably at least another 4 weeks. So we're going to have a pot up. They will go up 1 more pot size before then. And yeah, that's what we're doing at the grow lights. I think I'm going to plant some other seeds, just probably some peas. Peas are coming in the periphery. Oh yeah, hang on, we've got something down here. We have got the 2 gosh, I need to have a look at these today. The 2 propagators, celery, and some tiny little seeds of, and they are flowers as well, so cream of carpus. We'll just see how they get on. And in here, oh, we've got our tomatoes, and nothing's happening in the tomatoes just yet, and some more slow growing onions. We'll just see how they grow. A mixture of spring onions and zebrun and a different type of yellow onion that I found that I was going to grow on. So yeah, let me just go through what we're growing. We've got a row of indigo pear drop. Hopefully they'll all come up. We have got red cherry cerise, and we have got the tumbling tom, and we have got this one that's like, I think it's pronounced favourite, but it isn't spelt in the normal way favourite is. And then we have got 2 rows of Costoluto Fiorentino, and we've got the Apero F1 cherry. So yeah, hopefully we'll get some good seeds out of that. It looks like a lot of tomatoes, but as you know, like you know, you give some away, you need a few spares, all that kind of thing. So thanks for watching. any ideas what the little creature is that is going in and out of my beds, please post in the comments down below. And if you can see that I'm making some really ridiculous mistakes, I'm really open to hearing about it, because I'm just teaching myself via videos of other people that I respect and I follow. And so, you know, if you think I'm just being a Burke, then please say. And I'm open to all comments down below. See you next week.